Well, hello, my friends. Hope everyone is doing well on this wonderful Tuesday night. Hopefully staying safe and sane, as usual. It is my honor to introduce you to the Poiema Studio podcast. My name is AJ, one half of this wonderful dynamic duo. And before we get started and talk with our wonderful guest tonight, let me introduce my amazing co-host, Gabby.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again. It's been an amazing time just being able to, bring who I have as a guest today, Jorge. I'm really excited to share about Jorge in the Elgin community, especially as a friend. I truly admire the work that he does for the community. So thank you, George, for wearing such a nice flannel for Flannels and Boots Tuesday Night Podcast.
I was forced. I was paid.
Oh, Lord.
No,
hey, that was in the small print. Well, yeah. George, tell us a little bit about what got you here. What do you do? How did we connect? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, where do I start? A little bit about myself. Most people probably have known me as a twin. These days, we probably don't look like a twin anymore.
I know.
I just recently, about 4 or 5 days ago, I completely shaved my hair. So it's definitely a new experience for me.
Yes.
But besides that, yes, I'm a twin. I'm a girl, very artistic, very competitive with one another. So definitely into art. I went to school, got my bachelor's as an art teacher. Never went that direction. I got promoted in my job, became a food and beverage supervisor, and I was there for like 9 years at a place called the Q Center. It's a large conference center, and but yeah, I was there, and last year was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the whole pandemic happened, and felt like here's like a painting of my life, and it was like thrown out.
Oh, wow.
And like here's like a new canvas, and this is like your life now, and like do whatever you want with it. And so it's like almost like a new start.
Wow.
So that happened last year, and it was a year of finding myself, what I'm, who I am. I thought I already had an idea, but just really digging in. During the pandemic, I met you.
Yeah.
I would
At
say
the Vanessa Guillen event, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say you've had a strong influence in my life right now, and just finding more about who I am and what does a healthy version of George look like compared to what doesn't. And
awesome.
But yeah.
Yeah, I know you were doing a lot of volunteer work during the pandemic. Share a little bit about that. You have such an awesome serving heart for the community. So what do you do out there? I know one of the things that brought us together as well was our church here in Elgin. So share about your work with Pastor Danny, what you guys are doing in the community, what you are really passionate about when it comes to serving.
So first things first, I grew up knowing that, hey, serving's good, so I'm supposed to do. And I don't know if there's some people that comes very natural to them. They look for opportunities. Me, I never was. When the opportunity came, yeah, like definitely welcome it. Being involved with our church, with Pastor Danny, he's had a very strong influence in me. He really believes in serving the community. So the whole pandemic thing happened. I lost my job and just had an opportunity. I can serve right now. So pretty much every Wednesday and Friday, volunteer a lot at food banks like Food for Good or Elgin, sometimes some other areas. Help out like the houseless as well. Sometimes, go to Tent City. It's an area where just people live in tents out on the wilderness. So yeah, I've done things like that. And
in our group.
And yes, right now we're in a season of growing in our group. It's been an amazing season. It's something I don't know. It's just like it's in me. Like I feel like this season, I'm just focusing on growing. I just want to grow. That's just in my mind. I want to change some of my habits, and big thing, just finding more about who I am. Just trying to transform. And I had my in mind to kind of like shave my head, and I want this to be somewhat of a new start as well. And like look in the mirror. Hey, I'm a different person. I'm not who I am. I'm not gonna say I was a bad person or anything, but just I don't know. A lot of times we just kind of say who we are a little bit, and unless we need to change, and then it's when we finally change. But I think we can always improve if we have reasons. And
Probably as a twin too, right? You guys look so alike. So you probably, you get used to having someone else that looks like you. Like, how much did it affect you to be a twin as a child? You grew up in Elgin? You grew up in Elgin?
Pretty much, yeah. My whole life grew up in Elgin. Came very recently. What I found out is we just super, super attached to each other. I found out being attached to someone's not too healthy sometimes. And actually, it really hindered our social development skills with other people and stuff. Like, if my best friend, my twin brother, is here with me, and I'm at somewhere like at a party or this and that, like, I don't really need to go out of my way and talk to people. I have my best friend right here. I can look like I'm cool. I'm talking to somebody and so forth. So, so that's something that just kind of slowed down my process in regards to developing my social skills. And right now I'm in a season where I kind of want to be intentional and doing things different, not always doing the same thing, because we pretty much do everything like together and stuff. So just one of those things where I gotta be intentional and that's helping me grow
your own identity too,
as well,
right?
yeah.
And so that was one of the things that I know before this podcast, we talked about something that you're really passionate about is helping people grow in their own identity through your experience as well. As you guys know, our podcast is about bringing mental health awareness for suicide prevention. And one of the things that we shared was our stories of our childhood, things that impacted us. And for you, like, the self-image was something great. Like, so what would you say self-image is, first of all?
Self-image is pretty much involves, so this is a topic that people kind of know a little bit about, but I don't know if it's talked enough about. And I think it's a huge deal in our lives. And pretty much it involves, how we see ourselves, right? It involves our thoughts, our attitudes, our feelings, and just, how attracted do we feel to other people. And it just affects so much. If I don't feel attractive or something's wrong with me, I try to hide, and I'll explain a little bit like my story and so forth, but that's a little bit of what it is and how it affects us. Yeah. So
why don't we go to your story?
Yeah,
Share with us about, your experience as a child and everything. I would love for, what we intend to do with this podcast, with this platform is, reach someone else out there that is maybe dealing with something like your story could impact them. Or if it's not a youth, maybe a parent that is watching this that will look at their child differently. So, share about your story. Tell us, how that's changed you as an adult and how you wish to impact others with it.
Yeah, sure. Awesome. So I'll start with, I would say probably when I was in second grade, so I was about 7 years old, I started becoming a little bit familiar with my self-image. How do I look like, to others? And that's the time when I actually got glasses. And I felt like maybe I'm more of a nerd or something, right? And just growing up, I'm just gonna be super vulnerable here.
Please do.
I think like in fourth grade, I started getting a little bit of a mustache, and I didn't do anything about it, kind of thing. Seventh grade is when life started to become a little bit more difficult for me, I guess. Started getting acne throughout those years. Eighth grade, it got worse, and I was already somewhat twin, right? I was just my social development or my social skills weren't the best and stuff. And just talking to people, I was a pretty shy person overall. But then this kind of happened, and I became even more like quiet and shy. And once I got to high school, I pretty much, to the point where I didn't really want to have friends, just because of the way I looked and stuff. And it just really, really affected my self-esteem. And I would say one thing that played a big role was I was in the library, and before I used to hang out with like the really cool people like in elementary school, and then just growing up, I felt like I can't be cool anymore. I don't want to be seen, and there was one of my friends who was in the library, and I was over here and talking to him. She was talking about this one girl, how I think she got a tan, and then her skin was kind of like breaking. And she had like acne, and I was just hearing them out, and I started overhearing that, and I was like, I became even more insecure. I was like, wow, like I guess this is what people like see me or think of me, and I don't know, just became even more quieter.
This was in 7th grade, you said?
This is my high school years.
High school year.
Yeah. So that was
the hardest years, I think, for a lot of us. We were talking about that yesterday. Even growing up, like being bullied, you don't really understand that you're being bullied till you grow up as an adult. Because for me, it was kind of like, I never knew that I was being bullied. And for you to, I think it's the same way I say what you were dealing with at that moment, realizing like this is what life is about. Like people are actually like, caring about the outside, and these were your friends.
Yeah. And during the time, I didn't really want to have friends either. Didn't want to have that commitment. I gotta talk to this person now, and the bottom line is I didn't want to be seen. That's just how I felt. And there was one close friend, and I would say her skin wasn't the best either. So in some way, there was a little comfort level there, and she was like my best friend. But than that, like I don't know, I wanted to avoid everything, and it was a tough part of my life.
Yeah.
And I would say how I kind of overcame that, excuse me, is I would say probably when I was maybe early 20s, I started working, started going to school as well. And there's a time when actually I want to fix my face, like at all costs. Like I went to a dermatologist and got some cream, my face started turning like so red. It was like really, really bad. And like, I think this will help me. And I made I told when I was working that, hey, I want to take a couple months off. So I kind of like quit work, and then I was going to school, and I told my teachers, I want to take some personal time off, and they okayed it kind of thing. I told my parents, my dad wasn't too understanding, I feel. And that's something important as parents, sometimes you don't really know how they feel. Yeah. And I think everyone responds different, reacts different.
Yeah.
My issue has been, something I'm very much aware of. I care way too much what people think of me. I've always have, and some people it's like nothing, whatever. Some people just, but for other people, I was having a conversation with Pastor Danny today about that. Like, can you tell somebody, like a kid, like, hey, just don't care what people think about you? And the reality is, you can tell them, but I think at that age and stuff, we're all so different. And like, no, I'm sorry, I do care. And yeah, some people, it's no problem. But other people, me, that's been one of my weaknesses.
Because at that age, what else do you have to care about besides like what other people think about you, especially your friends, like
you just
or your peers? Yeah, exactly. That's all you care about at that moment in time. So that's what I think it definitely leads into how, like, how do you help your kids, get through that? Because again, during that period of time, it's like, what else are they going to care about? What else do they believe in? There's nothing really that severe in their life. Like everything. Yeah, that's everything to them. Is their self-image at that point.
Yeah.
And by high school, you kind of have, like the popular group, and then the jocks and the Hispanics. If you have a group, and you have
at that point, you're supposed to define yourself.
Yeah, you're supposed to be in some kind of like little group. Or I remember the kids that were like in after-school programs. You knew for sure they were part of the same like group. The chess club stayed with the chess like club people.
You got the drama kids.
Yeah, like so at that point, you kind of feel like you have to be part of something. You know. So that was your when you took a break, that was
I took some time off during college time, and not only that, but I was it's kind of like a person of faith, and I started really seeking God, and like, you know what, I know God can do miracles. Like I know it. Like I seen a bunch of heard a bunch of examples, and He can do this. And during the time, I started getting closer to God, but also even more and more depressed. The reason why is because nothing was really changing.
Right.
And I get to the point where if I'm gonna live like this, like my whole life, like, what's the point of living? Almost. That's how bad it was. I didn't want to commit suicide or anything, but just I was tired.
You question life's value.
Yeah, I was waking up at 3 a.m. every single day, night, putting an alarm and just wiping off the heavy cream because I couldn't have it there for too long, and it's just somebody sleeping at midnight, and then I gotta wake up in 2 or 3 hours. It was just every single day for like a couple of years and so on. I was tired of it, but during that time is when I finally I prayed to God, and I was like, you know what, God, like this is your problem right now. and you're gonna take this away when you want to. And right now, I'm just gonna trust you with my life. And I'm just gonna follow you. And that year was my worst year for sure, but also became one of my best because after that I felt free. I was like, you know what? It's okay. It's gonna work out. Just trusting in God, and it's gonna work out and stuff. And I became free, like the weight out of my shoulder, just like completely lifted off.
Like you surrendered that worry of,
exactly.
carrying.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happened? What helped you move forward in that season of your life?
So yeah, I'm not gonna, things started getting a little bit better and better and better. But not till like almost like last year or 2 years when my skin started looking pretty decent. But anytime like I have a breakout or something, just being like really honest, like there's like something going on, like an event or a party, I didn't want to go. Like, no, like I'd rather not. And that's what kind of happens. We there's like a shame that kind of happens, and it's tough, but yeah. It's like,
I know you said you were into art. Was art part of something that you used to deal with the things that you were doing, or like what are the tools that you use during these times now that you look back at yourself and say like I was dealing with this, but these things helped me get through it, because I mean I've told you personally, but I want to remind you how awesome it is what you started in our group, the wisdom that you bring as a friend, the things that you teach other people, like it comes from a place of, I know, experience, but also like your compassion and your love for people is really amazing. So what got you to where you are at right now? Like, obviously you overcame a lot of these struggles. Like, what were the tools that you used apart from faith? Because I think faith is a huge, protector. So like, was art part of this experience, or?
Art got me through in my high school years. I would say that's something I could do. I could always draw, and sometimes, instead of talking to people, it's a little bit of a way, I'm just gonna chill here, lunchtime or whatever, I'm just gonna draw, ignore everything, and that kind of helped me just get through the day and stuff. I can kind of hide a little bit, looking down and stuff like that. But other than that, like art, I wouldn't say it's played, I don't know. There's a time in my life where I got tired of art, as in it became very, for me, like sometimes humanistic, as in like, hey, look what I can do. Look how good I am. Look how talented. And I kind of got to a point where it's not really about me, or I don't want to look like I'm higher than others kind of thing. I just, there's a time when I started learning just, gotta humble myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, like, as a twin, and I know, Joel, like, you guys have shared it before, you guys were so competitive. So there was, apart from having that person that was like your best friend or someone in your comfort space always, you guys were so competitive.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, but we're encouraged. At 3 years old, like, I show my grandma, like, look what I draw and what I drew. And like, oh, like, show your aunt. And I was encouraged to show off, and I fed off of that. Like, like, people got to see how good I am. And so I just grew up like that and stuff, like I have to show off my talent, and I have to come out as I'm better than everyone. And just like growing up with artistically, just being like super competitive. Like sometimes we would hear friends talking about, oh, blah, 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 they're as good as drawing the twins. And my mind would be like, nope, not even close. And I got to prove to everyone that we're the best. And that was like the standard and stuff. But like I said, that was from the past.
Yes,
and then
because they're really cool people now.
I was so immature.
Yeah. Well,
but it helped me. It actually molded me to be who I am. And it's kind of like now it's like, if I'm going to do something, why do I have to be good? Why can't I be great? Yeah. So that's a little bit of my mindset and how that kind of molded me, which is in a really good way, I would say. And
that was actually one of the questions I had for you. How do you think for us as parents or adults that are, raising children or, being some kind of role model for children, how do we help them accept, who they are and their self-image? And how do we, help them in their developmental stages to realize that it's not all about the outside, I know social media, like we, mentioned before, has affected the way, even culturally. Remember you were talking about some research you had done?
Yeah. Should I share that?
Yeah, share that. Yeah, go ahead.
See if I can remember.
We want the viewers also reminder to our viewers, to our audience, if you like this, press like, share this about self-image, and let us know what you guys think about this. You know, if you guys have any questions for Jorge, we want to bring him back for another episode and follow up this one. So yeah, share about your research that you...
So this is a little bit interesting, just in regard to self-body image and how we should look like, almost like the standards of the culture.
Yeah.
So like just here in America, like in 1920s, there's a time when just for the women specifically, they needed to be just like thin, like long. They would actually bind up their chest, their breast area to be like flat and stuff. And that was like how people were supposed to look. They actually, there's that time they started taking pills for like diet pills, like, you know, they wouldn't get too fat or anything like that. It helped out during that time. And then 1950s, like after the war, there's somebody called Marilyn Monroe. Are you familiar with her? Yeah. You know, so she's like kind of like a sex symbol in the 50s, 60s. And she became a little bit of the standard a little bit more, you know, it wasn't about being thin or anything, but curves a little bit, things like that. In regards to the guys that have never really, during that time, more like just being tall a little bit, you know.
You're wearing a hat. You gotta wear that hat, right?
Yeah, that too. That was very,
you know
very
what I'm
popular.
saying? Hello, miss. How you doing? You know what I'm saying? With the cigarette and the glasses and stuff. Yeah, that was the dress.
Yeah.
Thank God we got past that. You know what I'm saying? I like wearing hats, but I don't know if I could pull off the whole like Clark Kent, you know what I'm saying? Mild mannered reporter kind of vibe.
Yeah. So yeah, that kind of happened, but it wasn't for the guys until after the 70s, where like Arnold Schwarzenegger,
we started getting dangerous.
Yeah, he started he kind of came along, and then there was like comic books, like superheroes.
You know what I'm saying?
And there's like cartoons, like He-Man, the Hulk.
Well, like you could see it in the comic books, like through the generations of how men were shaped. Like Superman, the way he was dressed, like he wasn't super buff because that's how like strong men looked back then.
Right.
But as you get through the generations, you see like you see how like body shapes were changed, and now it's like, oh dang, you gotta have a 6-pack on your 6-pack, you know?
Yeah.
Even in like Halloween costumes, they have like the 6-pack and the really? Batman like costume for sure.
You know
so that's why I mean it was about being bulky at the time.
Yeah.
And then women for like in the 80s, there was like the supermodels, right? Facts. And you need to be kind of like tall and kind of like fit.
And a little pencily sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially a little bit more now. I think like, well, not as much now, but pencily.
Yeah. Started
to really come into play.
And then for guys, like probably like early 2000s, there's like a movie called what's it called with Brad Pitt? Fight Club.
Hey, that's good.
There's like, you know, he's like showing like shirtless and stuff, and he's pretty like cut, and like he's that 6-pack, and that became a little bit of a like the standard. Even like till today, that's probably like, you know, not like bulky, like huge, but you know,
it's like toned.
Least,
you know what I'm saying?
Like definitely.
Like you're defined.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
You want to have your muscles like shown, but you don't want to be walking around with a shirt that looks like you should probably get a bigger size. You know?
Yeah.
Of course.
But a little bit interesting. I just heard about that. I don't know if you guys have. There's something called is it like a dad body?
Oh hell yeah!
Do you know about that?
Yes,
what do you mean rocking that?
I saw something about it on TikTok.
How do you feel about that?
Hey, shout out my dad bods.
I'm not a girl or anything.
Hey, shout out my dad bods.
I know there's some girls that are living into that, but oh,
I will pass on that question.
All right.
He said spicy.
So. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of like coming along. I have no idea. But
was that the hot question of the
I'll
night?
tell you my opinion on dad bods.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fire. You know, I'm not just saying it because I might have my own dad bod. Okay, that might be the whole reason. Continue.
So
it's all about personality, guys.
It's a good self-image. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, circle, bring it right back around to the topic. Okay, I was like,
yes.
Yeah. So then, in regards to the girls, I would say the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, pop culture really started coming along. And somebody like Britney Spears.
Yeah, NSYNC, remember NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, like the metrosexual, right? The brand
love it. Yeah.
That was like a diss back in the day. I remember hearing that, like, oh, you're metrosexual. But nobody says that anymore, though. Like, nobody, I've never heard that being thrown around anymore. Like, oh, you're metro.
I mean, but back then, that was like,
that's crazy.
Men started, like, you know, cleaning up their eyebrows.
Or you're wearing baggy pants, you know what I'm saying? Or you was wearing, like, 4XLs when you should be honestly wearing a medium, you know? That was that was a time period, like rappers really started doing it too. Oh my god, Soulja Boy, He had the hoodie all the way down to the knees. I'm like, you wearing your dress, bro? Oh man.
Yeah. So that kind of happened, and till today, in regards to women, I think like the Kardashians have had like a huge, as in like now it's
They've had a huge
like enhancements and stuff. Is like it's good, like fuller lips.
They've had huge enhancements.
Yeah. So stuff like that where now it almost feels like, hey, this is how I'm supposed to almost like look like, and if I'm not looking like that, then I'm not beautiful, kind of thing. And
incorrect, but yeah.
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 You see society's approval, and then now you have social media, and this is what we were talking about yesterday too, was the whole what kids have in their hands, like iPads and phones. So not only do you see someone looking a certain way, but you see that she has so many million followers and she's got so many million likes. So then you're like, wow, that's really what people like, because if not, they wouldn't have as many followers or they wouldn't have as many likes if people didn't like it. So I think that's where kids start seeing like that validation coming from someone else on the other side of the screen.
That's what sucks, is the kids don't understand the nuance of social media, and that like just because people like it doesn't mean that's what you should go for. It's just that's what people envision for themselves, and that's what they want.
Yes.
So that's what they like. Doesn't mean it's an ideal that you should strive for, because it's not realistic. And again, that's the problem I think with social media is, and the internet in general is like, it's a really great resource, but of course, like almost any great resource, there can be a con to it, So with that, like you're getting a lot of information, but that's also the problem. You're getting a lot of information that you probably previously wouldn't have been able to tap into, and then again, you're seeing what a lot of people are interested in all at once, comparatively speaking to like beforehand, where you kind of had to figure that out for yourself and were more keen to be individualistic because you had no choice but to kind of be in with yourself, and enjoy yourself, because like you had no view of the world, nobody was posting their life or anything. Nobody could really put up a fake image too much. I mean, of course you can do it in real life, but it's a lot easier with social media now. Like you just take a picture. I just rented this Lambo for like $300, you know what I'm saying? But I own it. Nobody else knows it, but I own it, but you could do that, so it's so much easier. So I think that's
now with filters and everything.
Even better. You don't even have to wear makeup anymore. You just literally put on a filter and it looks like, oh wow, that's them naturally.
I know what I look like as a guy too. Things like that.
Hey, I'm a cute woman. That's all I'm gonna say, because I'm an attractive woman.
I'm not too bad.
You know what I'm saying? I would date me.
That's too funny.
So going back to your question,
going back to my question,
parents and stuff like that, right? So parents. All right. So one thing that people got to be really mindful of is obviously, you guys all know this, but little kids are like sponges, right? And whatever they see being modeled, that's how they kind of become aware of things. And for example, let's say somebody's struggling with their weight image, right? A mother is like, she steps into the scale, and she like, oh, and the little kid or just sees that and like, well, so I'm not supposed to be big or anything, right?
Yeah.
Or the mother saying, like, you know what, I can't eat that right now. I'm just gonna eat a salad. Little things like that play like a huge role where kids are developing like, oh, I shouldn't do that, or I can't be like that, or
so they start having unhealthy relationships with food.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Exactly.
I'm so guilty of that though. As a woman, you're like, oh my god, I'm gaining weight. Like, you're like, you start fitting especially after COVID. I was like, I guess I was talking a lot about my weight and stuff. So I'm so guilty of that, because I mean, but I guess we have to teach our children that that's not the equivalent of health,
Yes. I mean, you can, in regards to looking a little bit bigger than, or just, with, I guess, fat, and stuff like that. You can play, I'm not going to say play around, but just be careful with your words. As in, like, I'm trying to be healthy and stuff. Compared to, instead of, like, looking a certain way kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
your terminology is really key.
Yes. And, man, like, just like the words that come out, something I want viewers to get out of is just being very careful how you come out to people. You specifically, like,
who's watching.
I'll give you an example. Like a couple weeks ago, I was like working and we got some pizza, and there was somebody who was a little bit new, and she was a little bit on the bigger side and stuff, and she only had like one pizza, and there's another person trying to encourage her, hey, get more, this and that, and it's like, no, I'm okay. And then the lady, she's a vegetarian, And she didn't even like have pizza, that kind of thing. Or she, maybe a vegan, actually, I don't know. But she was eating like fruit and stuff, this and that. And then what comes out of her mouth is, oh, I'm so full. I ate like a pig.
Oh.
And just, she didn't mean anything, but just, words like that. Where right now, like, self-image, like, that's a little bit of my mind, and I heard that, I was like...
I mean, even our reaction was like, oh, yeah.
Yes, but just something, just so as a parent and stuff, be very careful how you express yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Love them no matter what, obviously, and just try to understand them. Like, I felt like I wasn't really understood, kind of thing. Or just, my parents would see me very quiet, or just never really, oh, that's how he is. Or I was struggling, self-image, and so the big thing is don't assume things, just try to understand.
Yeah. That's a great advice for parents. So what would you say, and we have so much to talk about. We hope to have George again join us for conversations.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Yes, for sure.
How to be healthy and how to like improve in regards to self-body image. Would be
yes, for you, that's a good place where you find passion. I can see. Before we end, what would you tell someone in high school? What would you tell that George in high school if you could tell them something, either advice or like
shave your head in a couple of years?
What would it be that would make you feel better about yourself, or like would encourage you to keep going?
I don't know. So here's a little bit different version of me myself right now that I've matured. My favorite saying is, I don't care. As in, like, I don't care what people think about me. And that's something I'm trying to develop into my head. Just, renewing my mind kind of thing.
That's good.
I've always cared too much what people think. And there's a lot of things where we magnify in ourselves. Just like body parts or this and that, or just, everyone's looking at blah, blah, blah. And like, dude, like almost like nobody really cares. Like they're too conscious about themselves sometimes. And so that's something, but like I mentioned, sometimes I don't know if you can tell somebody, don't care what people think about you, and like, because during that time, I think I still would have cared, unfortunately. But the big thing is just just try to understand them. Don't get mad at them if they're not being social or they're going through a stage where just try to understand them and just make the best out of it, kind of thing. But it's tough.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, George, for being here with us to bringing up this topic about self-image, because I do believe that it can definitely affect the way we see ourselves, the way we love ourselves, mental health, the way it affects our mental health, and just like the way we treat others as well. Like we were saying yesterday, sometimes you could be a bully as much as someone can be a bully to you, and that can come from a place of you not liking who you are. And so again, thank you so much for being so vulnerable with us tonight and sharing your personal experience. You look great with this haircut, and your skin looks great too. So
for next time, we should talk about giving people compliments.
Yeah, let's talk about
as
that.
In, like, I've questioned, like, hey, you look good, and I've questioned, and does that person
You're
mean
like, are you
does
sure?
the person mean it, or is he just trying to be nice?
No, I think it looks great on you.
It might be both.
And when we started becoming friends, I told you have to be better at accepting compliments.
Oh.
And that's another thing. We have to learn how to accept them, because we have to learn how to give ourselves compliments.
Well, again, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Jorge.
It's our pleasure. Can't wait to
guys. Remember to like, share, comment, and if this is on YouTube, subscribe.
Yes. Thank you so much to Cosmic Creations for allowing us to share this story on this platform tonight.
Thank you.
And we love you. We love everyone watching, so we hope to see you guys next Tuesday. Subscribe and share this Poiema Studio podcast Tuesday night episode with Jorge Hernandez.
Please. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.